Okay, chapter 10. Look at verses 1 through 4. It says, Jesus called his 12 disciples to him and gave them authority to drive out impure spirits and to heal every disease and sickness. These are the names of the 12 apostles. First, Simon, who is called Peter, and his brother Andrew. James, son of Zebedee, and his brother John. Philip and Bartholomew. Thomas and Matthew the tax collector. James, son of Alphaeus, and Thaddeus, Simon the Zealot, and Judas Iscariot, who betrayed him. Now, notice that the 12 are called disciples in verse 1, and they are called apostles in verse 2. That is the first use of the word apostle in the Gospel of Matthew. Why that change? It went from pupils, learners, to messengers, to those being sent. Absolutely. Jesus is sending them out. He is transitioning them. Jesus is sending them out into the harvest field. And Jesus gives them the spiritual authority, the power to exorcise demons and heal every disease and sickness. Now let's just go through this list of 12 apostles and give us something we can hopefully remember that will help us to know them better, okay? Peter. Peter, can remember impetuous leader. What does the word impetuous mean? Just kind of flies by the seat of his pants, acts before he thinks, but he became the leader of the apostles. Andrew. He is an inviter. He is the one who brought Peter to Christ. He brought his brother Peter to Christ. In the feeding of the 5,000, okay, Andrew was the one who brought the little boy to Jesus and said, "Oh, this old guy's got some food." Okay, I forget where they were from. Were they from Samaria, maybe? I don't remember. But there were some people who came curious about Jesus, and Andrew was the one who said, "Come on, come with me, I'll introduce you to him." He was always one just kind of saying, "Come and check it out. Come here, let's draw closer." James. James was one of the sons of thunder, and he was the first apostle who was martyred. John. That's James's brother, so he's another son of thunder, and he became the apostle of love. The sons of thunder, Boanerges, they were harsh. They were quick to condemn. Kind of early on in their relationship with Jesus, they would say things like, "Lord, you want us to call down fire from heaven and just wipe these people out?" And yet, after spending time with Jesus, John became the apostle of love. Huge transformation. Correct. Yeah. Now, Peter, James, and John were the inner circle of Jesus. They were the ones who were closest to Jesus. Jesus had 12 disciples, but Peter, James, and John were his inner circle, and Jesus did things with them and took them places that he didn't the other 9. Okay? Tell me one of those places. Okay, Transfiguration. Think of another one. Okay, all right. The Garden of Gethsemane. Okay. All right, Philip. Philip you can kind of think of as the bean counter. Okay? Any details we know about Philip are found in the Gospel of John. And there aren't a lot of details, but there are some. And John shows Philip to be a facts and figures kind of guy, not a visionary, not forward-thinking, and he was kind of a pessimist. Bartholomew. Bartholomew is also known as Nathaniel. He was a man of no guile. He was a student of Scripture, but he was a bit of a snob. Remember what he said? Can anything good come out of there? He found out where Jesus was from. Okay, you can tell me the next one. Thomas. What do you? Okay, all right, yeah, yeah. Thomas was prone to skepticism and doubt. Matthew was a converted tax collector. We already talked this evening about what tax collectors represented and how they were thought of. Matthew was a converted tax collector. James, son of Alphaeus, he was known as James the Lesser. Now, that word lesser, it's mikros, could mean that he was short, could mean that he was young, could mean that he just didn't really have much prominence in the group. So that's James, just James the Lesser. Thaddeus is also known as Judas, but not that one. And Simon the Zealot. What was a zealot back then? Yes, yeah, wanted to get Rome out of Israel. And these would be people who would maybe at night sneak up and take out a Roman guard. They would do things like that to just, they obviously didn't have the strength to overthrow the Roman occupation. But they were almost like, think of them as Jewish ninjas. That's how they acted. And this guy who probably had blood on his hands, Jesus called him to be one of the apostles. And then we have Judas Iscariot. And if you remember anything about him, it would be what? He betrayed Jesus. That's right. Yeah, yeah.